When Massachusetts voted to legalize recreational marijuana, we also voted to establish the country's first ever statewide pot shop equity program. The goal was to make sure the new industry benefited the same communities, mostly those of color, that were disproportionately harmed by the war on drugs, arrested at higher rates than their white neighbors. But more than 3 years later, there's not a whole lot to show for it. State's Cannabis Control Commission only just recently granted its first final license to a member of the so-called Economic Empowerment Program, which was intended to give priority application status to members of those communities. Only after first approving 114 other shops outside of the program, 37 of which are already up and running. So, what went wrong, and is it fixable? I'm joined now by a member of that commission, Shailene Title, who also co-authored the ballot question that brought us legal marijuana and a promise of social equity in the first place. Shailene, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. So 3+ years since the voters approved this thing, 2+ years since your commission is in place. Is it fair to say that the efforts to implement this program have been a near total failure?
Just take one hit. Don't you want to be cool?
Gather round everyone. The show's about to begin.
Turn on, tune in, drop out, this show's amazing. It's super lemon haze, you know them boys always blazing. Put one in the air, fill your glass and get to raising. Kirkman praising, school flag waving. Chopping up the topics instead choking on some chronic. Scott and Eric breaking it down like 21st century prophets. Eyes glazed and minds dazed, it's knowledge they convey. Roll up and consume the super lemon haze.
Super lemon haze.
Going to ask you several questions.
Super lemon haze.
How do you feel?
I feel like a slice of butter melting on top of a big old pile of flapjacks. Yeah.
So we have I don't even know where to fucking start with this thing. we should start talking about it. I feel again, it's like, I don't know, man. I get carried away with some things.
I mean, I don't see what the end game of all of this is for you, for us. I'm certainly not interested in fighting and arguing with people and all of the stuff that's going on. And I do think that, what we're dealing with here is a pretty much much more widespread than silly Cambridge and what this issue that seems to draw a lot of attention. So for me, I mean, and again, I also think that Twitter's the lowest form of communication. So the arguing and the stuff that I see on there, I don't like. I'm not a fan of, and I don't really want to be affiliated with that kind of stuff. Like I want to talk about weed. I don't want to argue with people over equity and fucking politics.
What if there's a way we can do both? What if there's a way I can just take on this personally, and then we could just do this for us, and then,
as I've said to you, I know you and you laughed at it, but I think you'd be good at, if you actually wrote some stuff. I think you need to get some stuff written down professionally, published. That's how a lot of this I think starts. That you need to build, and I think by writing stuff you can get people reading your information, understanding what's going on, instead of just this one mode of communication. I know you're not a fan of that, but
no, it's not so much that I'm not a fan. It's more the time. I have a very busy lifestyle, so it's this I can carve out for us. We can do this. The Twitter is an easy way of communicating ideas and talking to people and different things like that. But sitting down and actually writing an article and trying to get it published or producing it that's an effort. I mean, I guess that's, I don't know.
It doesn't have to be 20 pages.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know how to start, to be honest. Like I wouldn't even know. I mean, I know you'd start with a keyboard and a Word document, but, I've never done that before except for research papers. And, research papers, when you're talking about what I do, it's just science. You're talking in a very different language than when you're trying to put like link paragraphs together and thoughts and things like that. That's why I feel like this arena is great for me, because, I don't have to sit there and write things down. I get just like fucking
I think
fired off.
by writing some things down, the other thing that's important is that you have you get the opportunity to really plant your flag, because I think you have a lot of interesting thoughts on this and takes on this, but your thoughts and takes can easily be misconstrued by the nonsense that's going on Twitter, because we're talking about 140 characters, and it doesn't give any credence or respect to your real thoughts or any of their thoughts either. I think they can do better too.
Yeah.
But a lot of the folks that you are wading into this nonsense with have stuff that's published. They have works, they have speeches, they have they have a lot of other platforms and modes of communication that they've gotten their message out with over a career.
Yeah.
And you're here with the
microphone,
this podcast and your microphone, causing trouble.
I don't disagree with you that, and I think I got called out for that today, not knowing shit. That was really what they were. I mean, one party was trying to claim that, like, the fuck do you know? And
I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think you've done your research. I mean, you're into this, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. To call somebody out for not knowing shit is just. I mean, these people are definitely afraid of you. There's no question about that.
Why do you say that? What does that?
I mean, you've done a good job of. I mean, you've jumped in and you've given them some takes. Some of them have chosen to lump you in with groups, and sort of stereotype you even in a way, and claim that you're stereotyping them or whatever the case may be. I mean, I think there's I think there's a lot of that. I think you've done a good job of getting their attention and also scaring the shit out of them in a lot of ways.
Is that a bad thing?
No,
it's not a bad. I mean, it's not a bad.
No,
thing.
it's not a bad thing at all. That's what I was saying. That's actually my point. Is that I think that, and I think you've done a good job of learning what's going on and getting and asking questions and trying to get to the bottom of things. My problem is that's not what I ever really gave a fuck about to begin with.
Right.
Like, sure, I would like. I'm good with a couple episodes where we're like, whoa, that looks pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened over here.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm a weed doctor, not a politician.
Right.
And I'm not, trying to advocate one way or the other for little piddly shit going on in the politics of Cambridge is my problem. I think there is again a much wider problem with racism and equity in this country.
Yeah.
not just in Cambridge.
It's hard for me to not want to play, to not want to try and make a difference in some way, shape, or form, because again, my life's training has been in public health, right? That's basically what I have been raised to do, and educated to perform in is in public health. And then, to me, this idea of systemic racism and equity and populations of people, being withheld from, making a living in a certain industry just because of the color of their skin. Like, I think it very much has an impact on my interest and on my education and on my wanting and needing to support and help. So I guess that's the thing, is that I guess what keeps me going down this path, what keeps me interested is the content, but it's also that I feel like every single time that I've spoken to someone like Chief or Mar or even some of the Rev Clinics guys or whomever, that I continue to get the reinforcement and the message that, like, what I'm doing is helping. And so for me, I think I keep saying this, but like, I feel like it's almost a sense of responsibility to keep going. Like, if I just stopped, if there's a huge group of people out there that don't have a platform to use to try and gain back what they feel like that has been stolen from them, and they're looking at this as a potential way to broadcast their concerns, I mean, I kind of just feel like, what's the risk, right? What am I risking? This is what I keep saying to myself. I'm not saying this for you. I'm not speaking for you. I'm saying this to myself. What's the risk on me just having some people on who have some really deep thoughts about something that I'm very interested in, and talk about it on a podcast for a little while? I mean, I guess I get the most fired up when something like what today happened, when a person who I was being very respectful with, and just giving them all the information to set it up for that person to come on our show. And again, I feel very confident in anything that I've done on this show since the beginning. Every minute that we've taped, every message that I've written, I stand by it. I'm always very respectful. I do the best that I possibly can to be very consistent with the message. And that's what it was with this person today. So I was spelling out what the show's about. I asked if she had watched any of our other episodes. She confirmed it and even like LOL'd it. Invited her to come on. I made a little bit of a sound clip taken from another show that I thought, was a good setup for the episode. And then boom, the next thing I knew, I got the message that she wasn't going to come on.
I saw that. Yeah.
That was it. It was just, I'm sorry. And I'm not coming on. And I asked for an explanation, and none was given until the next morning. There was a series of tweets and messages and things that I was tagged in. And again, I asked her for an explanation why she wasn't going to come on, because I was just at that point, I was sort of testing. I wanted to see, because my interpretation of what happened was everything was leading up to her coming on the show. That clip that I put out there, which was from another show, someone
promotion of the show.
What?
It's promotion of the show.
Yeah.
Of our pending show.
Yeah, where it was
this was the who is this person? You will learn more about her on our show.
Exactly.
Yeah, I saw your clip. Yeah.
Someone
good
must
production, by the way. Well done to you.
Thank you. Someone must have seen that and messaged her and said, "Don't go on this guy's show. Don't go on this guy's show," because that was the feeling that I got right afterwards. So because the conversation.
Well, what pissed her off was you tweeted. You called it out this morning, right? That was your tweet. You said she's not coming on now. I don't know what's going on.
Yes, exactly. I basically said the person wasn't going to come on. What is she afraid of? Right. And why won't she talk about these programs that are failing the people? And then from her, it was a bunch of explicitives like "fuck you," because I don't fucking have to. Like it went from like a cordial.
Something about your right-winged ass.
Right-winged ass. I mean, like crazy stuff that has no. It's completely out of the realm of reality to what we do and what we've produced and what we say. The group that they always associate us with is basically the people that we've had on the show, the people that we've had on and spoken with Cannabis about. And I mean, to me, again, these are people that I highly respect. I mean, these are family men, and their wives are brilliant. The Rev Clinics guys have just only shown us respect, and it's not, that unfortunately means that, I don't know, they're thinking that we're linked to them, but I don't think we're linked in any way to anyone, which is why we're always trying to say, come on the show, man. We'll talk to anybody about this. But so basically,
I wish I was linked to Big Cannabis. I'd get some free weed out of it or something. I get shit out of it.
Good point, man. We're all our fucking free samples.
Keep buying my weed in Maine.
So some people got brought into the conversation today. Chief Samura, who we've had on, was one of those people that got brought in.
Well, he saw what was going on, and I believe he jumped in.
Well, I think we all kind of follow each other, and
yeah, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying though.
Yeah. I'm just going to make sure that he
my guess is they don't want to bring him in. They don't want to deal with him either. They're just as afraid of him as they are of you. That was fireworks going off.
I saw it. I
hear that.
Yeah, I hear that.
Still going on.
I never think it's guns, but I always wonder.
It's fireworks. Everybody's just going nuts with fireworks.
Right. Was there a lot of fireworks in Maine?
Well, they're illegal in Maine. So,
I think they're illegal here too.
They're illegal in Massachusetts. I'm pretty sure. They're legal in Maine.
Oh, they're legal.
Yes, they're legal.
Oh, so was there
tons of
I got you.
That's
I got
what
you.
I was saying. Yeah.
Sorry,
I was going to I should have answered your question properly, which was yes, there was a shit ton of fireworks because they're legal.
Yeah. My wife just texted me and said, "What the fuck was that?"
Fireworks.
I should tell her it was a gunshot.
Fireworks.
The baby's sleeping.
What's the best way to get a balanced argument? Because so far, people that are, for the most part, other than Mike from the Young Jerks, we haven't had anybody else that's on the other side here. So it's pretty easy for anybody to call you out as a shill for Rev Clinics and Big Cannabis right now.
Well, I mean, so that's the funny thing is that
it's simple.
But that's not. I mean, it's very easy for you to say that that's who we are because those are the only people that are willing to come on the show and talk about it.
That's my point. So my question to you was, how do we get that balance?
Yeah, well, I think I listened to that point that you made, and I think your feedback was to get people from the other side on, but that's what I was trying to do. That's what getting that person on tonight was about. It was getting someone who was the complete opposite of who we had on.
I lost that. So how do you find
no?
it?
But
how do you
why
find
did
balance now?
But that's the point, because I think I need to know why we lost that, because I feel like that's just going to keep happening, because we've had a couple of guests on that these other people didn't like. Now they're like blacklisting our show or blacklisting us and saying that like they can't come on and talk to us because we've given an opportunity for these other people to speak. So they're being silenced. So like, the Chiefs and the Mars and these people are trying to be shut down because they are, right? They're being blacklisted and they're being called racial slurs, and they're basically trying to, shame them out of the community. And I don't know. I mean, so I don't know how to find the other side anymore, because I don't know. It'd have to take someone who's got guts, because clearly the person who we tried to get on didn't have much, because it didn't take more than a second for that person to completely flip after 4 or 5 days of like, that takes a lot. It doesn't take a lot. It makes me understand that this person, for someone just to flip like that in a moment.
Don't know. Yeah.
What is that? What's that like? Is that loyalty? Did someone that she's very loyal to say not to come on the show, and automatically that person just said, I don't care what this person says, I'm just gonna flip it and do it? Because it clearly wasn't the feedback that I was getting for 4 or 5 days straight. It was a cordial, respectful, good conversation until it turned into one word, which is fuck off, I'm not coming. So
that ended after today's tweets. But yes, leading up, I will say you were sending me the text like, this is what we're doing. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how to get the perspective from a group of people who are unwilling. Like, how do you talk to that? It's like, how if they're going to be so irrational and make decisions that to me don't make any sense. I mean, like, I don't know. How do you lure that in? How do you get to hear from all the other sides if they're just going to automatically say, I'm not going on that fucking show. Fuck them. They gave these people a chance to speak. I'm not fucking speaking to them. Then that to me sounds so childish. It sounds so immature.
It's wild. Chief's got some takes on this. Right?
I know, Chief, man. We need some education. Hold on, let me
hopefully he can tell you some background on this. This fucking rap.
Look at that.
What's up, my man? What was that? What are you hiding?
I mean, I had to come to the office because the dog was like ready to rock, man. The dog was totally ready to just start barking and all kinds of crazy stuff.
Hey, Chief, this is my partner Scott. By the way, he wasn't here the last time you were here.
How's it going,
Scott? Good to see you, bro.
Nice to see you too.
Yeah, we're a team. We do everything together. It just so happens that he's got a place that he goes to in the summertime. So
summer, I got to run away from this hot place, head up to the coast for a little bit up in Maine.
Nice. Oh, I'm trying to get out there. Trying to get out to Maine, man.
It's you only get about 3 months, not even, but
and then it's gonna be like inhospitable,
and then you're back to freezing and gray every day. Yeah,
it's a big place. Maine's a big place, though. What
I mean, I get to the mid coast, so I get a couple hours. I get about an hour and a half north of Portland. Like, keep going up the coast a bit, but Steve talks about it. Big Steve talks about it on the Kirk Minhan show, like Damariscotta. In that area, I'm up in that area.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's cold. I mean, even right now, like if it's 90 degrees here, it's like 70 degrees up there.
Yeah,
and windy.
Where would you go, Chief? Do you know? Have you thought about any?
Well, yeah, I do know, because I got some new contacts in the weed biz out there, and they're like, "Come check out my grow. Come check out what we're doing, man. I can't wait. Got new friends, new business opportunities in Maine, and I'm just looking for the I'm looking forward to the opportunity to get out there for sure.
There's a good weed scene up there, Chief. I was
Yeah.
through Portland. There's a bunch going on in Portland, and then even where I was going up through the mid coast. I was just telling Eric, I stopped at a dispensary, had some pretty decent flower. They had some vapes and edibles going. It's starting to. It seems like it's starting to pop up there.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to being introduced to that. Like I said, I got some really cool folks that are doing a lot of amazing things up there, and I just haven't had the opportunity to get up there yet. So
yeah,
it's coming soon.
Do you have more on the market, Chief, except Purian? Is Purian the only thing right now that you're working with?
So on the licensed shelves, it's just the one product that we have right now, Purian Bedroom Cannabis. And that's in about 30 plus stores here in the state of Massachusetts. We look forward to building it into a whole product line, Bedroom Cannabis product line. And so there's other products that'll come right after Purian. But, you know, we look to build new relationships and create products with a lot of different folks out there. And so, you know, there's more coming, but we can't say exactly where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Chief, where do you get your weed and what kind of weed do you smoke, buddy?
Right. So this
gets down to the hard hitting questions. Fuck Eric and his politics.
No, but that's a good question.
Fuck Eric and his politics and this nonsense. Let's talk about the real stuff.
Man. What is this? This is yellow cake. What is that? I think that's what it's called. Yellow cake. No, yellow wedding. Yellow. I think it's
wedding
yellow
cake?
wedding cake. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's what do you hit? What do you got there? I'm sorry, I didn't even see.
Oh, I got a Fonto blunt.
Got it.
You know, for the whole show. I know that y'all is into drinking beers, man. So I hope y'all ain't gonna clown me or not.
What are you working with?
We don't clown.
I'm working with Founders.
You're in Nevada.
Founders all day.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's a tasty one.
That's a good one.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, if you're into the, you know, so basically it's a lower.
Yeah, it's an IPA that won't put you on your ass right away.
Exactly, or make you feel like you ate like a loaf of bread or something. So
yeah, true.
It doesn't fill you up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that y'all is like digging around in the local weed biz and game, man, because it's exciting, isn't it? Isn't it something?
I like to sample it. I like to go around.
Are we talking? Are we talking the actual flower products? Or are we talking about the politics part?
Both.
Oh, both.
Both. You know, I'm into both.
Yeah. No, we had a good conversation right before you came on regarding you know, different things that I'm going to start trying. But I actually am making a trip to Sieh tomorrow, so I'm gonna check out your stuff. I'm gonna go.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go find your product, and then
I would say that Eric's probably more of the politician policy cannabis side of this stuff, that he's taken more of an interest to. It's just part of his background. I've always been more of the weed guy. I'm the self-proclaimed weed doctor over here. So
nice.
So we have a little bit of a balance going on for sure. But
nice.
So yeah, I mean the thing that happened today, you know, I've been getting so much education from everyone that's come on to have, you know, discussions with us. And, you know, I have just high amounts of, you know, respect for anyone that's just willing to stand behind what they believe in. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I fucking flip my shit when someone cowards and runs away. Because especially for a person who has been on the front lines promoting and selling and producing all of this content, and then the 1 minute, the 1 second that they get a sense that someone might say to them, what was that all about? They just
they might get challenged, or that people wouldn't just run with whatever narrative they throw out there like a child. Yeah,
it's like that. I have a very hard time. Maybe it's because I'm a father. Maybe it's because I don't know. Like I just don't get it. I don't get that mentality of just running, blocking, completely twisting, saying fucking crazy shit, telling you to fuck off, like all of these things that, like, I'm just like, dude, how old are you? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Why? How? And then like, how would I ever want to hire that person for the next job? You know what I mean? If that's the way you're going to handle yourself in real life, because real life is challenging. Real life is hard. Real life is looking at someone, believing in what you're doing, and trying to work with them on looking at it from their side. You know what I mean? Like, life is about sales, right? You're always trying to sell a a perspective. You know what I mean? Because when you're having a conversation, if you're just going to sit back and just like cower, no one's going to respect that. If you just sit there and scream and bark, no one's going to respect that. People, I mean, at least for me, I expect an exchange. I expect respect. If I'm respecting you, you respect me. If I'm saying, come on my show, if I'm going to spend the time and the energy of my life to do something that I'm going to help you, because we're just going to have a conversation. We're just going to talk about it. And all of a sudden you just stop and you pivot and you run as fast as you fucking can while you're throwing fucking shit at me. Like, don't get
Yeah,
that.
man. So that was ugly. That was pretty ugly. You know what I mean? And once I saw that Shakia had actually agreed to do your show, I was a little surprised. I said, "Oh, is Shakia really gonna talk about her time at the social equity program as a director, like openly and honestly?" I don't think so. So I was kind of watching to see if she actually followed through with the show, and I wasn't surprised to see that she didn't.
Yeah.
I don't like to be out here talking negatively about anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this is actually a very important issue that I haven't spoke on for too long already. Actually, I believe I might have made a mistake, a big mistake, by holding my tongue and not challenging Shakia while she was at the Cannabis Control Commission. You know, a lot of people, including myself, we don't want to beat people up in the media as much as people think we like to do that. I don't like to make people look bad or anything like that. And I wanted to give Shakia the opportunity to really prove that she was about what she was about, and, you know, not to harm that in any way. So I held my tongue while Shakia was at the Cannabis Control Commission, despite the fact that we were getting some very poor service. And you don't have to take my word for that. You can speak to other economic empowerment applicants, and they'll tell you that the communication from the Cannabis Control Commission under Shakia Scott was miserable. And that's not even a profound statement. That's just a basic point of fact. You know what I mean? And so I'm not surprised that she's now engaging with a larger community and coming and ready to speak about her experience in the social equity program for the CCC and everything else, because frankly, there's a lot of attention now. And she's left under a very questionable circumstances. And nobody's really answering any questions and stuff like this. So naturally, she's going to want to get out there and get her version of events out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I don't fault her for that. I expected her to do that. I just thought that she'd be a little more savvy in the way that she decided to do that.
You know, I guess, and this is the sort of the way that I explained it, but like, you know, I don't look at this show as a place where you're going to get things twisted around, or, you know, she thought that I was going to give her like the gotcha moment. Like I was trying to be, you know, I'm always trying to be a gentleman, you know, no matter who I'm talking to, I don't care. I mean, unless you're fucking with me or my family, like I'm not going to be nice to you, but you know, I wasn't going to, she's a stranger to me, you know, and I'm just trying to get some information from her. So there was nothing that I did leading up to when she flipped, that was not.
You were actually giving her what she wanted, weren't you?
What do you mean? Like
she wanted a platform to tell her story.
Right.
Am I wrong?
No, I mean, I think that's what she saw. I asked her if she watched any of my other shows. I mean, with you on it, with Mar on it, with anyone else on it. And she LOL'd, you know, so she was basically saying, you know, and that's where I thought the same thing you thought, you know, I thought, you know, I think, you know, Shailene and I have had a little bit of a rocky relationship, you know, we go back and forth, you know, I think there's a level of respect. I know that I do have respect for her as a person. I have respect for every person as you know, who they are as a people, you know, like, but I think, you know, for me, that's what I was given to Shakia. So maybe she thought this was going to be a place for her just to sit, and she was just going to tell her story. And then all of a sudden she just flipped, and either she got someone else to tell her it was the wrong idea, or she thought or felt or saw something that she didn't like, even though we were talking for like a number of days.
Yeah, so let's just to be clear. So aside from all the emotional piece of it all, so right, you're texting with her, Everything's cool. You clear with her that she's seen. You say, "Have you seen the show? You know what we've been talking about. You know the types of guests we've already had on.
Yeah,
what's going on here?" She indicates yes,
100%.
Then what she thinks is she actually canceled last night, thinking it was going to be tonight because I think she got her dates wrong based on the text message. But basically says, "I can't do the show tonight. I'm busy," and then gives nothing else and basically blows you off.
Blows me off until she says, "Fuck you."
Well, then this morning you basically say, "I got blown off. I can't believe she's not in, this is what's happened."
Right.
And that really set her off.
So you weren't
a fair recap of what's happened?
That's a very good recap.
Non-emotional fair recap.
No. So you didn't expect her to come on.
And obviously Chief never expected her to come on based on her prior track record.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good recap. Is that how, so why do we think she didn't why did she bail? Why did she bail last minute?
I mean, it's almost speculation, but I would say just based on the feelings that I was getting on what she was saying and how she was saying it and ultimately just blocking a conversation, I think she was afraid of being asked the question of why the fuck isn't it working? That's kind of, I kept quoting her tweet.
And you're being blacklisted as somebody who dares to challenge or ask these type of questions to the same small, tight regime.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what's happening. And it includes Mike Crawford. You see what I mean? It includes Dan Adams. You know what I mean? Because that's just what it looks like. Yeah. And if you step outside of that and you have any questions that put any of those people on the spot or embarrass them slightly, you've seen for yourself. You'll be blocked. You'll be blackballed, blacklisted, whatever. All this stuff so quick, it'll make your head spin. And it's exposes kind of what's really going on at the same time. So you're like, oh, I get it.
There's clearly some teams. There's definitely teams, as we were talking about just when Chief came on. There's lines been drawn in the sand, no question about that.
Well, so Chief, when you get it, I don't know how you deal with your moments of I get it, but when I get it, I can't. I have a fucking fire that burns, man, and I can't put it out. And I really get a hard on trying to figure out what the fuck, because it's like, because if these were just people that we're just friendly with and they're just like off the street and like you're just having a conversation with your neighbors, then you know what, I have enough to say, you know what, there's nothing here. I'm just gonna just let the person have this and then go away. But when the people are in a position of power, in a position of policy, in a position of regulation, in a position of education, you don't get the opportunity to fucking turn around and walk away. You don't. That's your responsibility.
Baby sleep.
Oh, fuck. My baby's sleeping. But you don't. You can't. When you went to school and you made the conscious effort to be who you decided to be, that's your responsibility to fucking face it. If you're going to sit out there on your podium with your pen and paper and your fucking audience and speak, you have every soul and every person listening to you have the responsibility to face it. When someone questions you, you don't have the opportunity to turn away. If someone's fucking being a dick and if someone's giving you fucking lip and if someone's like screaming and doing disrespectful things, of course, you can do the mature thing and say, you know what, fuck you, goodbye. Not when someone's doing the exact opposite. You can't turn away from questions asking you why, how come. You have to live up to that. That's your job.
Especially you're in a public position like this and you're saying that you're serving people, right? And so if people have a question about the way that you serve those people and you're like, hey, shut up, get the hell out of here. Who the hell do you think you are? Who the hell do you fuck you? That's crazy. And it's also exposes, right, what's going on in their mind and everything else. So for me, man, I'm pretty used to this environment. I really am. And so for me, I have to process and interpret it in a certain type of way that allows me to continue to stay engaged.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for you, it's somewhat different because, you know, cannabis is your livelihood, right? Like this is your industry. This is what you're trying to make a living doing. Your passion. I mean, our passion is doing this show, but we have, you know, we have more to what we're doing in our daily lives than just this show. But it's hard. Again, it's difficult for me to see people like yourself being treated like the way you're being treated for what I can see as just having a difference of opinion or a question or just a
Yeah,
question.
and I'll tell you honestly, my difference of opinion tends to be the prevailing opinion and leading opinion sooner or later. And that's why you see me kind of because I understand. I know I've been through this, man. You know, they usually have to end up coming around to understand my position later on. They're just too early. They're young. You know, you have to have patience. It's like dealing with children. You know what I mean? They don't want to acknowledge reality. They don't want to acknowledge things that are uncomfortable, right? And that's what it's going to have to take. They're going to have to do that sooner or later. So I have to do a lot of waiting, frankly, for people to come around to understand what's real and what's not.
You've got a lot of patience, man. I guess I don't have it.
Yeah,
I
my
guess
mother's
that's
name is actually Patience.
Is it?
Yes,
God
it
bless
is.
her.
Yeah, and her sisters are Hope, Faith, and Prudence.
Oh, I could use all of those in a needle and just inject it into my body.
That's what I'm saying. I'm made for this, man. I chose to really put myself into this thing. That's why a lot of people underestimate me. I use that to my advantage. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for a very long time, and people continue to underestimate me. That's why, frankly, I've been so effective at a lot of different stuff. I understand this environment, and you know, I understand the realities of this environment. I'm not um, just seeing what I want to see.
So, a question. So, you know, Scott and I have this discussion, especially when we have tough conversations like we've had. Do you think that having these types of conversations is beneficial? Are we going, is it, I mean, is there something that we're providing, by speaking with you guys and trying to understand this industry and asking kinds of questions? Do you think that is it worth the energy that it takes, even with all of the fight and the feedback that you get? Because, you know, that's what I'm saying is like, I look at you guys who've been, I mean, and Mar's been fucking, that's a lot of trauma. You know, he spoke a lot about that on our show the last time. And that's a lot of layers, man. And I just like, man, just going through this, going through that. I mean, it's like, I have so much mad respect for you guys. But is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. It's worth it. Once again, other people won't understand because they're not me. They don't see themselves as serving their community in the same way. They see themselves as doing other things, or they might be there at a later point in their life. I'm someone who comes from a long kind of culture of service. It's how we in my family relate to the other people around us. And so my mother and her sisters are not just Patience, Hope, Faith, and Prudence, but they're also all nurses. You know, and we serve. I'm the fourth, like I said, I'm fourth generation, a war veteran on my mother's side. I served in the Army National Guard. I was a Massachusetts park ranger. Serving this state, serving this community, serving the people around me is something that's important to me, and not something that everyone understands to the same level. And so I accept some of the hard things that comes with improving our society, our community, man. I do. I accept it. I put myself in that space, and I have to be prepared to, you know, take the damage that comes with it.
So aside from patience, what
But
other?
it's good. Okay, so I'll continue. I'll
Yeah.
continue.
Go ahead.
It's all good. It's all good. Because we're doing the hard work of repairing our culture and society, right? And so if you retreat to fuck you, it doesn't really matter how high and mighty you think your ideals or opinions are, because you're actually not really helping to be cohesive and help You're othering people, right? When you're saying "fuck you, get out of here" or whatever, and so you're not really doing that hard work. The hard work is actually in bringing folks together from all different, from the full wide range, right, and then still being productive and effective. That's what I respect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I respect.
I guess, I'm thinking, aside from patience, what other virtues do you think matter the most?
Oh wait, hold on. Let me
Yeah.
plug my laptop because I see this battery. I don't want to lose you, so just give me a quick minute.
Take your time. Take your time.
But it's interesting too because I was thinking about this. I don't really know Kirk Minihane very well. I know you guys are part of his extended network, and I don't really follow sports radio very much.
Yeah.
But I'll prove to you right now that it's important. Because I read that Kirk Minihane went to high school in Winchester, Massachusetts, which is where I went to elementary school. And so if you can imagine little me and little Kirk Minihane in Winchester back in the 80s, we may have actually thrown blows. We might have been some of those kids that actually fought after school because there was a lot of fights after school in the 80s in Winchester when you were somebody that looked like me. And my buddies and my friends.
Yeah.
And that's how I grew up for a short period of my life in the beautiful, wonderful town of Winchester, which is what provoked me to challenge Senator Jason Lewis when he came on the Young Jerks show and call him a prohibitionist. He was going up against somebody who I thought would be better for the town of Winchester, which encouraged me to speak out. Now I know, and so like I said, if you can imagine these two little kids in the 80s in Winchester, in that culture that was the 80s, in all the race whatever, we learned, we fought, we grew up. You know what I mean? And now here we are, kind of coming full circle as men that are over 40 years old. And we find ourselves sharing with other local men on a podcast, bringing communities together and sharing our varied views. I don't see anything negative about that. I actually believe that's necessary work. Yep. Yep. And so that's what I'm saying. I draw these same type of parallel. I'm not really much different than, you see what I mean? Or I'm the opposite of Kirk Minihane. You see what I'm saying? Because we're both coming through this exact same municipal school system, at least. You know.
No, I mean, there's if there's any way that I can describe who Kirk is and why I'm such a big fan of his, which is why we promoted this show to get it on his network. He's an open, he's honest guy. He's genuine. He says what he means. He stands by what he says. He is controversial, but only because he speaks the truth, which is why they give him this name, Podcast Jesus.
I can feel it too. I tend to be really controversial because I'm speaking the truth too a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of people just want to be agreed with.
Well, you're explaining something that a lot of returning veterans actually go through, because returning veterans are thrown into this world where they're conditioned, like Pavlov, to have to really evaluate things on that deep moral level and think about their actions. And then they return to a society that doesn't do that at all. It actually is kind of flippant and careless about those things. And so then it sticks out even more when you're trying to engage and interact, and they have the same experience that you're talking about. It's like, what's wrong with these people, and why would they act like that? Don't they have any moral compass or sense of themselves or this and that? So I'm just explaining, very common for veterans. We struggle with the same type of stuff as we integrate into a society that hasn't been through those deep questions of, should I pull the trigger and kill this person or not? See what I mean? Or you know what I mean? And so or the other things that you're going to be dealing with in the Army or battlefield, or difficult situations, or other traumatic situations. So
Yeah.
that's kind of me, man. And so I've been to Iraq and I had the same type of thing. And I decided when I came back, I'm not going to be lending myself to all kinds of immoral behavior just to help you or you look good. I don't care about that. I'm too old. I've been through too much. You know, I didn't do all this just to serve you, scumbag. And so if it's something immoral, yes, we are obligated to stand up to it. That's why I'm an activist for cannabis, man.
Yeah.
That's why I started a private cannabis club delivering, because I just felt like it's on us to do those things that we feel need to be done.
Yeah. So, you know, Chief, you have partnered with, you've come up with a system that allows you to get involved in this business without having to go through the licensing process. I mean, that's kind of how, you know, Purian came on the market, right? So I guess the question is it frustrating for you? I mean, you're successful in that sense, right? So you've been able to carve a pathway and a direction for you to achieve your goals by circumventing this failed system.
Yeah.
But a system that you have been a part of and that you guys you were involved in it until they basically said get the fuck out because a select few decided you weren't a good fit for them.
Yeah.
It still. So as you're kind of going on this path and becoming more successful and doing your thing, does it still drive you? Is it still difficult to see the dysfunction and the failure and the lack of empathy and processes that are essentially supposed to help the community? The whole thing was supposed to, you know, was built upon. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, for me, again, I don't want to bring this back to me because again, I'm an infant in this whole thing. I'm like a fucking ant, man, on the size of the globe, man. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not afraid to say that I'm so young and so new into this. Doesn't mean that I don't love it and have an interest in it. But for someone like you, I can only imagine, if this is the way that I feel, how you must feel still looking in and seeing the same problems and still seeing the same people in leadership and still seeing the same message on a like a Ferris wheel, right? It just goes same message, round and round and round. It just how does that make you feel?
So it is disappointing to see things not work out in the way you would wish them to. But like I said, I never got into this with some type of pie in the sky fantasy, man. I understood the war, battle, environment that I was getting into. And I understood that, you know, just some singular success for me wouldn't be enough, you know, that we would have to open the market up and stuff like so. Once again, man, I understand how hard it is and what it takes. And I chose to do this kind of, I call myself an activist because I understand the extra heat that comes with it. I don't expect anybody who just wants to get into the business to have to go through all this stuff that I'm doing. I really don't. I'm more public. I share. I become a target for that. That's just the nature of this thing. But I am uniquely positioned. I'm uniquely positioned, and you also ask why I'm not as flustered or whatever to see these negative developments. I planned on these negative developments. I never thought these people were going to do anything else.
Yeah.
I got a plan that they can continue to do that every day. My plan will still come. It doesn't rely on them to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I was trying to explain to people. You better not wait for these people, else you'll be stuck. And I didn't wait. And I started with Leah and I made Purient Bedroom Cannabis, and we started doing other things. You know what I mean? And so we're not going to be denied access to this market.
Yeah.
And for other people that want to work with us, we'll have pathways for those people too. We'll have created pathways for those people too. And so that's why I'm positive, because I'm doing the work. You know, I'm being effective. I'm calling my marks, making my shots, you know, and I'm still far ahead, frankly.
Yeah. So you're basically
a lot
saying,
of folks that like to throw stones and this type of stuff. So yeah, I'm ready for this environment. I'm groomed for this environment, and I'm ready to swim in this environment, man. And I want to make it bigger and better for everybody to kind of participate. I need more competition.
Yeah. I've always loved that about you. You're always talking about the competition. I agree with that point.
It's the only way we're going to build a quality market here. People know that when they get in the biz.
Yeah.
You know, And so I'm not fighting to keep people out of the market. I'm fighting to grow this market big, and I'll be fine in that market. I'll be fine.
I wish everyone would just like follow that same
Yeah,
frame of
no, people
mind,
are not
you
going to
know?
just follow Chief, man. This is a lot of years of experience and other things, and people are, have to come to this where I'm at through a lot of struggle, frankly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, let me tell you, there's a lot of people that get in this weed business and they think they're going to be overnight millionaires, man.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a big chunk of them who just see that as
Yeah. And there's a big narrative out there that that's what it is. It's not true.
Right.
Ask any of these licensees if they were overnight rich, overnight millionaire sensation.
Yeah.
That's not how it works. But yet that narrative is still there. And you still got people swearing and believing up and down.
Yeah.
That somehow, I don't know, they're going to get a license or someone will give them something. And all of a sudden they're going to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chief, what are the conditions don't change for right now? Let's just say things kind of stay as is. What are your next steps? What are your kind of near to long term goals? I mean, I heard about the Purient, the rebrand and the repackaging piece, and I know you messing with some different kinds of with the ways it's presented and packaged, and I think maybe a little bit of a recipe change up too, or some flavor change. Or
Not a
like
recipe,
that,
but packaging.
Yeah.
Packaging, definitely big change up on the packaging. We got the 2.0 version coming soon.
Cool.
Along with, some more marketing, some more telling people about what the product is, getting into some new levels of marketing there. I'd like to present the product to folks in other states. I think it'd be really great. And then we have the kind of rest of the product line, which we're talking to other manufacturers that are, we love Sierra Naturals and they really helped us. But we'd also like the opportunity to work with other manufacturers and kind of spread the love and see how other people work, make the network bigger. So we look for those opportunities too. I'm trying to open a retail location in the city of Cambridge. And so that is ongoing. I'm waiting for the host community agreement back there. Been waiting for a while, but I expect that soon. So that we can open a retail establishment in Cambridge. That's going to be really exciting. And I can't wait to share more about that, but we've got to get this host community agreement first.
Yeah. So do you also have a retail space then secured? Is that part of the agreement or no? How's that work?
Yeah. So in Cambridge, you got to have the location first to apply for the host community agreement. My team has been holding a location in Central Square, Cambridge for going on almost 2 years now. We'll be opening up right across from Rev Clinics. And so here we go. I have to address Mike Crawford because Mike Crawford, for whatever reason on the Young Jerks, believes that it's okay to basically slander EE companies like my own. And this is what MRCC has been doing. This is kind of part of the tricks from this same regime. If they want to discredit any EE or any type of social equity business, they'll say, oh, that's a greedy person. Aren't they working with big business? Aren't that person a capitalist? And then they'll be like, oh, and then they put you on the blacklist, on the whatever, and they act like you're a bad person.
Yeah.
I've been providing effective pushback to that entire craziness, which is why I'm a big threat and a target to a lot of these people too. They've been using this lie and slur of capitalism is bad.
What the fuck does
and
that
they
even
only use
mean?
it on black companies like mine trying to get into the cannabis biz. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that strange?
What
to have a whole cannabis industry that's built with capitalism, white capitalism, but when I want to get in, I got people that claim to be supporting black people talking about capitalism is bad and I shouldn't engage in it. Really?
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
These are the type of people. These are the type of people that just destroy things.
Yeah.
You cannot listen to these type of people when you're doing serious biz.
Yeah.
Can you, Chief? Can you comment on what? Because you and Mike started out friendly. Obviously, it started as some kind of a networking thing, right?
Mike's misinformed. He's listening to these wrong.
Like, can you tell us where it went wrong, or like what specifically it was that?
I like Mike. I like Mike because he, we struggle for an opportunity to get media platform here in Boston, Massachusetts, man. I don't know if you know. But you know, black
Only
folks.
from what you've
He's
said.
done an amazing job. I mean,
Yeah.
he's obviously built a heck of a little platform for cannabis in general, aside from the CE stuff.
I was delivering weed. I was listed on Weed Maps and Leafly, and I was running my private club, and I was really full of myself, and I was proud of the legal model that I'd created, and I was ready for the challenge, and I was ready to expose my legal model to the public. And I went to Mike Crawford and I said, "Put me on your radio show. Let me tell them I'm a delivery guy and I'm doing it legal and everything." And Mike was like, "Hell no, you're going to get in trouble and I'm not going to be responsible for getting another one of you guys in trouble. Get the hell out of here." And this was when I first met Mike years ago. I was like, "Fuck you, blah, you're a punk," you know what I mean? And he was like working more with Masscan back then. And then I grew to really respect what he did for me, because after that, I saw a bunch of people go down. And Mike had someone on his show, I think, that had got arrested too. And it's crazy because just now, Young Jerks, they just got someone fired.
They did.
So it's like, I appreciated Mike for actually like saying no at the time and saying, "No, I probably shouldn't put you on my show." I appreciate that, because I was a reckless activist.
So are you saying then also just because you gave that most recent example that Mike should feel somewhat responsible for that guy getting fired for coming on his show? Should he have said, "Don't come on"? Or do you think is he getting caught up
Mike
in the fucking...
protected me. I don't know about this dude. I feel horrible.
Right.
They're fighting for union and someone got fired. What's going on, Mike Crawford?
Yeah. Well, do you know
I don't like that's not I'm here to get people hired in this biz.
Yeah.
Whatever program they're running that concerns me. That concerns me.
So I just need to say this to someone who will hear it, but you know, they're sponsored by that union now. They're giving them fucking thousands of dollars. They have their logo all over their network. Did you see that?
Mike got a lot of new sponsors, man.
No, I know. I brought that up.
You know,
he's got a list. No, but yeah, it's getting. But the point that I'm trying to make is he claims that he doesn't change who he is based on his sponsors, but he chose to have people from NETA who are trying to organize with the union that's paying their sponsorship to their show.
I watched it too. He really pushed the guy.
He should fucking feel terrible. Mike should feel fucking terrible for getting that guy fired, because if you ask me, he led that motherfucker on, and as you said, pushed him.
Yeah.
And I agree with you 1000%
about
that.
That was not. Yeah. Terrible. So actually, I was really concerned, and I hope that this doesn't turn into a damn thing. I don't want to see any more people getting fired or any of this thing at all, because we should be fighting for rights. We should be fighting for equity. You know what I mean? But I don't think we should be getting so convoluted where we're sacrificing people and their jobs. No.
Yeah.
What I thought was funny about all this union stuff was that I haven't once heard any of including the union delegates that have been on there, give a good reason for why there should be a union until Mike came on our show. Until the day Mike came onto our show, I still did not understand, after listening to all of those shows, because their explanation as to why it was the worst thing. It was like, because we got to unite for the people. Like, there was no real conscious effort or thought produced by any of those people that were saying that they needed a union. Now, when Mike came on, because Mike is an intelligent man, he said it's because obviously they're not covered by OSHA. It's not recognized federally, so you don't have the biggest federal body of safety.
There's no OSHA.
That's a problem. There's no OSHA. That's the issue, Chief. Because when it comes down to it, this is state stuff. So you don't have a federal body looking over it because the feds don't recognize even recognize marijuana. So that's a legit reason for them to have a real union. But
shout out to Terra Naturals for being the first to unionize in the state of Massachusetts.
Holy cow,
and shame on Mike Crawford for not giving them more props. That's why there's a lot of inequity in the way these things are covered out here. And so I've been watching Mike go after NETA. I understand NETA's big and he got this union thing. Like I said, I hope it don't get out of control. I don't want to see people getting fired. I don't want to see negative relationships with, people that are working for these groups, and now they can't talk to podcasts or anything like that. I don't want that. Mike Crawford, please do what you can there. But on top of that, this is what else I got from Mike Crawford. I got something else for him because he keeps saying that I'm doing business with revolutionary clinics, which is false. That's false. That's a false claim, Mike Crawford and Grant Smith. So if you're gonna continue to make claims that I'm working with revolutionary clinics, please provide that evidence immediately, because those are slanderous comments. Those are slanderous comments. I don't have any business with revolutionary clinics. I imagine the reason that they're saying that is because I supported a political compromise on an ordinance, which is not me working for revolutionary clinics, Mike and Grant Smith. No, that's me supporting my views in this business. And to claim that I'm somehow bought by Rev Clinics because me and Rev Clinics agreed on an ordinance? Shameful. Shameful and small. Shameful and small. So I challenge anybody, I challenge Mike Crawford and Grant Smith to put up or shut up about saying that I work with revolutionary clinics, because that's a fake one that they've been pushing for a long time. They pull this stuff out for anybody. I usually don't say much, but I'm tired of this one. I don't work with Rev Clinics. You've been pushing lies. You've been pushing falsehoods. Whoever you talked to misled you, and now you need to retract that.
Who are they getting their information from? They always seem like they're so informed, man.
They're not.
Like, that's their fucking claim. That's their claim to fucking fame. It's like,
it's pathetic.
Oh, we're so informed. You have no idea. We speak to all these people. We've got this list. We've got this fucking, encyclopedia of information that's going to bring you all down. Like,
I think Grant's smart and well read, and I think Mike has a heck of a network, and he's been around for a bit.
Oh man, they're just old grumpy men, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They're just
and they just want to be right. Like I said, they have to learn sooner or later that they're wrong.
They want to be famous. That's what I've come to learn, is that way they want to be famous. They want to be recognized. They want to be held hands by the people they put at the top of their Mount Rushmore. You know what I mean? Like they want to hold hands with Shailene Title. Man, that episode with Grant and Shailene was disgusting.
Sycophantic.
Made me
nauseous.
Made me nauseous to watch that fucking thing for 45 fucking minutes of just watching Sycophant. It was just disgusting. And then fucking Ed Markey was on.
Oh man,
I don't want to again.
Mike got Ed Markey. Bang! Mike's moving up in this game, man.
But that's like it's because he's it's the fame.
Are you gonna get Kennedy now?
I actually reached out to him just to fuck with him.
Right.
I mean, it's never gonna go. I'm never gonna get him. But I messaged Kennedy, and then I also messaged Tito Jackson, who's another one of his favorites. I'm like, oh, if I can talk to Tito Jackson, or if I can talk to Joe Kennedy, but I'm just kidding. Like none of that. I have no interest in keeping this going. I actually I actually do have a.
Mike Crawford's more of a political animal. He doesn't really understand this equity stuff as well. He loves cannabis, but the politics of and the ins and outs of the businesses is not something Mike is going to be privy to. Not something he's going to even really understand off the top of his head, because he has a different vision of the whole environment. It's listening to people like MRCC who are purposefully spinning tales to make themselves look good, that are filling Mike and Grant's heads with all kinds of funny, ridiculous, slanderous things, like Chief is working with revolutionary clinics.
Yeah.
That's always been false. I challenge these people to either stop saying that immediately or explain what the hell you're talking about. Because if you're saying that because I agree, I chose a compromise ordinance, sorry, buddy. Sorry about that, buddy. But you're going to have to try again.
Right.
There are people that actually do work with revolutionary clinics. And I'll tell you what, Mike Crawford's scared to say anything to them. He'd rather say stuff to me who doesn't work with revolutionary clinics. So is Grant Smith. They're fake. They're scared. They don't have the guts. Boom. Done and over with.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about people that worked for Rev, talk to the people that really do work with Rev. But you're coming from me, you lose. So I learned how to grow up, come up in this society by navigating my way around bullies, setting traps for bullies, exposing bullies, making sure bullies can't hurt me, making sure I stay ahead of the bullies, make sure I keep my money from the bullies and all the rest. So these type of environments are old hat to people like me, as messed up as they are. So that's your explanation, man. I thrive in that, in these settings that are poor, because I grew up like this, where basically everybody is trying to get you and you have to be very careful.
Yeah, that must be exhausting, huh?
Yeah, well, it's a unique American experience.
Right. Hey,
where
Chief,
there's a lot of sick people.
I don't want to. I'm not going to keep you much longer. I think we're having some breakup issues, and I don't want to have to keep fighting the network. I mean, we've been obviously talking for quite a while, so I think this is, to me, this has been a very exciting. I mean, every time you come on, I don't know. I just fucking I love. I feel like I'm in church, man. I just feel like I'm sitting here, and you know, you always say such great things to make it's meaningful to me. You know, it's like even though there's some things that you don't always agree with, it just the point of doing this to me is just to sit here, listen, learn, just fucking use it. It's a tool. Everything someone says to you, if they say it in a respectful way, is a tool that you can use and apply in your own life. So I know that's why I always appreciate about these times. So
fantastic. And I appreciate y'all, man. Like I said, I think more people with platforms should be opening them up to more varied voices and not be afraid to be challenged or talking about out here, right? I mean, what are you afraid of? You know, go on all the podcasts.
All right, Chief, I think we're losing you.
Right? Thank you for opening your own platform, an opportunity to know who we are. Sorry about. Thank you for opening your platform up to people like me and Leah.
Anytime. You know what? It's going to be a struggle, I think,
We're gonna
for
have
us.
to go. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll talk to you another time. All right, man. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Sorry about that. So
no,
we'll talk
problem.
soon, okay?
Yeah, we will. Absolutely.
Yeah, tough at the end. Oh well.
Yeah. Technology, man. I don't think it was our side, right? Who knows?
No idea.
I tried to keep it. I tried to keep it for us, you know, toward a direction. You know, I was trying to give it. I wanted to give it a chance to. You didn't like that.
I mean, not that I didn't like it. It's just I don't see the end game for us, for you in this.
I don't know, man. What's the end game? What's the end game for anything? What's the end game?
Just chasing down this. I mean,
I'm not chasing anybody.
So what happens next? All right. So we talked to Chief again.
Yeah.
That was good. I mean, great guy, obviously. Hustler, does his thing. Awesome. So now what? What's your next episode going to be?
What's your next episode going to be?
I'm happy to come on every day and talk about different topics around cannabis and weed.
Except politics.
I mean, we can talk a little bit about it, of course, but I mean, you seem to be very driven around like we have to have a guest, we have to do this, we have to go through this stuff.
I don't feel that way. I think I know, to be honest, like I feel like that that time with Chief, I felt like that satisfied a lot of some curiosity. I mean, I feel like I don't know,
like what questions got answered. 0 questions were answered.
No, I mean
he's got, again, great interview. Like, great to have him on. We should have him on more often.
Yeah.
But what like as far as what your issue is, other than you just shouting and waking up your kid and your wife texting both of us saying, "What the fuck was that?" Like, what did we answer here? Like, what did we do? Nothing.
No, I don't. I actually disagree with you.
Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully they'll be better. Maybe I'll be wrong, but
I just have to keep going with my. I just have to process. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Maybe someone new will jump in from the top rope and want to talk shit with you on next week about this, or get into a Twitter fight with you this week.
I'm always up for it. I don't back down.
I'll be here. I'm here next week, so fuck it. Let's do it.
Shit. All right.
It's late. Let's go to bed, you mud. Super Lemon Haze.
Super Lemon Haze, motherfuckers.
What is this?
Is it over?
We're running out of time.
I don't want to hear your excuses! No, it's not fair. Where'd all the files go?